or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury.
And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient.
Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is For the Record.
For the Record. 1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today is Wednesday, the 6th day of March, 2024, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening, even those of you who were deprived of your internet service, those of you who are social media people, not only those, but the young persons who had to do their homework and had to find other means of doing so as well. We hope that you have recovered from that. We're going to talk a little bit this morning about that particular situation. And in some quarters, some people will say, well, you know, we're going to give Flo some licks this morning. They might not be licks, but we're going to certainly be critical of Flo this morning. And we want to talk about whether or not they are taking their customers, the people of the Cayman Islands, for granted. We know at one point in time that they enjoyed a monopoly here in the Cayman Islands, but now there are more choices in the Cayman Islands. And some of the people who I spoke to yesterday, they were certainly prepared to look at other options as well. So we'll talk more about that. But we hope that everyone has recovered from that ordeal as well. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please be extremely cautious, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle. Please ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, if you do so, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy birthday as well. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-outs brought to you by Coca-Cola. They're proud to support your birthday shout-outs. Coca-Cola is available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes, so taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. For the Record birthday shout-outs also brought to you by Superior Auto. They keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are at home, who are ill, and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands, we wish you a speedy recovery. Want to give a special shout out to Mr. George Shillette. I am told by Miss Gwendolee that he is now back home, back on island, and is doing well. If we don't hear from him this morning, certainly we'll be in touch with him as well. But we want to say to Mr. George Shillette, welcome home, thou good and faithful servant. We hope that you are doing well, and we wish all that is good for you as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Spot a service sometimes, and I won't tell you who our provider is, but spot a service sometimes. So the 949-6990 landline should be working, or WhatsApp number 925-3261. You can call us on that number, as well as also send us WhatsApp messages. Follow us on YouTube by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream, and of course, we are on Facebook as well. I'm not sure if that is working, but we want to welcome all of you and to remind you that For the Record birthday shout outs brought to you by Coca-Cola. They're proud to be your support your birthday shout out. Coca-Cola is available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. We do have a caller, but before we go to the caller, we have to finish the birthday shout-outs as well. And we're looking at Mr. Daniel Leon Slee. He's celebrating his birthday today, as well as Mr. Danny Roach celebrating his birthday tomorrow. Miss Clara Smith will be celebrating her birthday, and Mr. Donovan Germain also celebrating his birthday. We have also been asked to send birthday greetings to Miss Tanisha Williams, who celebrated her birthday yesterday. So belated birthday greetings going out to her from her husband, Mr. Tony Williams. So belated happy birthday to Miss Tanisha Williams, coming from your husband, Mr. Tony Williams. Also, Miss Venice Johnson will be celebrating her birthday on the 12th of March. Of course, the 11th of March is on a Monday, so we'll give her another shout out on Monday in advance. And God's willing, on Wednesday, then we can give her a belated birthday shout out as well. But meanwhile, we're reminding you that her birthday is on the 12th of March, and that reminder is coming from her loving grandson, Hubert Walker, and her loving daughter, Sasha Carter. Let's look for others as well. Mr. Fabian Worms celebrating his birthday today as well, and also Trish Tamasa celebrating a birthday. So happy birthday. Greetings going out to Mr. Fabian Worms and Miss Trish Tamasa. Let's see if we have any more. We don't. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good to hear your voice, and good to know you're back back home.
And I appreciate you contacting me when I was overseas as well. I guess that's what you call Cayman kind. That's the loudest we have one another as real Cayman. We keep in each other. And I'm doing fine.
Mr. Shillette, we're getting an echo from you. You want to try to make some adjustments there? Let's see if we can hear you much better. And you may want to repeat what you said earlier as well.
Yeah, I said, you hear me better now?
Not much better.
Well, I guess I'll have to change my location.
Yeah, try. That sounded a little bit better. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm saying. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was saying, I thank you very much and appreciate your contacting me when I was overseas. I said, I guess that is the way that we grew up. That's what they call Cayman kind. That's the real Cayman kind. We contact and we keep in touch with each other wherever we are, and we share our love with each other. And that's the Cayman way that I grew up in. And I sure well appreciate it. I'm doing well, sir. It's just a matter of time. And the good book said, don't be anxious for anything, but pray about everything. So this too will pass, Mr. Connor. And I used to listen over there as well to your show anyhow. So
okay, that's great.
No hitches at all. Thank you.
Okay.
Very much.
You're welcome, and all the best, during your recovery as well. And we look forward to hearing from you in the mornings like we usually do. So, folks, before we take a commercial break, again, want to acknowledge our sponsors for the record birthday shout-outs. Coca-Cola, proud to support your birthday shout-out. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Elizabeth Jane Bond Arch, 1874-1941.
Elizabeth Jane Bond Arch of Georgetown was one of 7 children. Though she never married, she raised her sister's son, Ira Thompson, when her sister died 10 months after Ira was born. She was the first librarian for the Georgetown Public Reading Room in 1919 and 1920. This predecessor to the public library was located in the room above the old jail next to the old courthouse. She was a role model to a generation of young people whom she took under her wing.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
The 17th Annual Bill Rudy Rotary Central Science Fair, Saturday, April 13th. at the Arc Camana Bay. Plan for it. Start your project now. Open to students across all schools in Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Grand Cayman. Homeschool students are welcome. Register now, today, tonight, online, rotarysciencefair.ky. The Rotary Central Science Fair, just around the corner, Saturday, April 13th. Rotary Central, creating hope in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
You don't need to be great to start, but you sure do need to start to be great. We've all been there. The little put when we try to start the car. Starters and alternators will eventually go. When life happens to your car, Superior Auto can save your day. Superior Auto offers complete starter and alternator repair. Superior Auto, 525-9571 or 949-9570. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune.
So much happening, so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Tortuga is giving you the chance to win big with its Treasure to 10K giveaway. Spend $25 in store or online from now until April 5th for a chance to win a grand prize of $10,000 cash, plus $1,500 of Tortuga vouchers and some fantastic weekly giveaways. It's all part of Tortuga's big 40th anniversary celebrations. Visit any Tortuga retail or discount store or shop online at tortuga.ky to enter.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guest in the studio yet. At 8:15 after the 8 o'clock news, we will have in the studio with us the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Roy McTaggart, his Deputy and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. One of our listeners has asked us to give a shout out, happy birthday, greetings today to Miss Betty Jacob, also known as Bet, and those birthday greetings are coming from Miss KK and Ray. So happy birthday to Miss Betty Jacobs, coming from KK and Ray. So folks, after about 24 hours of interruption in some areas, flow. Well, first of all, I want to say that at one point in time, Flow and CUC were the two largest employers of Caymanians behind the Cayman Islands government. I am not sure if that is still the same, if the same still applies. Maybe DART has overtaken some of them, but they were not only seen as the largest employer of Caymanians, but also offering the best for their employees. They certainly were companies that, iconic companies that were well respected in the Cayman Islands. Of course, we see with Flow scaling down its operations to a certain extent, we allow them to get away with their help support services being taken to another jurisdiction, while at the same time laying off Caymanians here. We didn't challenge them sufficiently on that. We didn't, hold their feet to the fire on that. They got away with that. And of course, they enjoyed a monopoly in the Cayman Islands for many years until the Honorable Linford Pearson took steps to have that changed. As a result of that, we now have more competition in the Cayman Islands. But at 2:30 p.m. yesterday, here's what Flow sent out to their customers. And like I said, that was something like, for some customers, that was 24 hours, of no service. Dear valued customers, we sincerely apologize to our customers experiencing broadband outages. Bordentown, and in parenthesis, Bordentown area or techs are working to reserve service as soon as possible. Folks, in this day and age where there is competition all around, no well-meaning company would send out such a terse message to its customers. We wait and we see now what will Flow do to try to appease its customers, even if it is some token gesture. We see in the United States, and some may argue, well, they're much larger companies, where they have given at least rebates for if it's been a few hours that they were out, even if it's a $5 knockoff of your bill, that is a token gesture. Whether or not that will happen here in the Cayman Islands, we don't know, because sometimes the management of some of these companies, they not being indigenous people, they're not respecting their customers to a certain extent. They think that they can run roughshod over them. I won't be surprised if absolutely nothing happens. So before we go to the 8 o'clock news, I want to share with you what Orrett sent out after meeting with representatives of Flow. So Orrett meets with Flow on network outage in Bordentown. Orrett met with Flow country manager Miss Christina Spratt today, with the utility regulator seeking an urgent update on the extended and unresolved outage on its network, affecting residents and businesses in the Bordentown area since yesterday, Monday, the 4th of March. ICT Director at Orrett, Mr. Sanjay Miles, said, and I quote, "We called a meeting with Flow this morning to get a full understanding on the nature of the problem on this network, on their network in the Bordentown area. Many customers currently have no access to internet services, and some also have issues with voice calls and TV service. This is extremely concerning. Flow has identified that the problem is hardware related and are working to resolve the equipment failure as soon as possible. They were not able to say when services would be fully restored, but Ms. Spratt confirmed that she has focused all resources at resolving the issue in order to get customers back online." And of course, Orrett then said we will continue to actively monitor the situation closely. Well, now that we are told that service has been restored, we now wait with bated breath, to see what transpires from here. There are many persons who believe that because of the high rates that we pay here in the Cayman Islands, that we are actually subsidizing some of Flow's activities and businesses in other jurisdictions. And if we are doing all of that, why can't more Caymanians be employed by Flow? Why did we allow them to offshore the support services? So if you have a problem now, you end up getting someone overseas rather than in the Cayman Islands. The people of the Cayman Islands need to understand, the government of the Cayman Islands need to understand as well that there are more choices now in the Cayman Islands, and we should not allow ourselves to be held hostage by any one entity, especially in the telecommunications industry. With that, folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news. Paul?
When you're on the go, let the Island Supermarket shop for you.
To start, head to fosters.ky/go.
Then shop all your favorite products online, from produce and seafood to grocery and frozen, all picked by our team of shoppers ready to go.
Choose next day curbside pickup from Foster's Camana Bay or delivery island-wide.
To get your order started, visit fosters.ky/go.
This is Groceries on the Go.
And we are Foster's Go. Shop online anytime.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Emergency services were sent to the site of an oil spill this morning around 4:30 a.m. The report was that it was by Mango Tree Roundabout in Georgetown, and you may be experiencing traffic delays in the area, so just a quick notice to drivers to plan accordingly. Police testimony takes center stage in the Grand Court trial of a man accused of possession of an imitation firearm. Radio Cayman's Jevi Ebanks has more.
On Tuesday, the court and jury heard testimony from a police officer investigating a domestic disturbance between defendant Corey Shamar Pusey and his ex-wife. The officer said when he arrived on the scene, he saw the defendant trying to leave. The officer used his car to block Mr. Pusey from leaving. He told the court he observed Mr. Pusey was bleeding and tried to ascertain the cause. The police officer also said Mr. Pusey and the complainant initially refused to speak with him. The officer testified that during his investigation of the incident, the complainant sent him photos and videos that purport to show the defendant in possession of an illegal firearm. The jury on Tuesday also saw the initial interview footage of the defendant at the detention center. In the footage, the defendant answered most questions with no comment. However, he unequivocally rejected any assertion from the investigating officer that he had owned a gun or threatened his ex-wife with a gun. During the interview, the defendant told the officer that the person in the footage appeared to be him, but said the footage was fake. He claimed the footage was taken from another jurisdiction 10 years ago. Jevi Ebanks, Radio Cayman News.
Ground is broken at the future site of Pease Bay Public Beach in Bordentown.
Pease Bay Public Beach is a key part of the Bordentown community.
being able to look at the vision and foresight to serve our people and have a public works department be part of that vision to deliver the design from inception to completion with the project management services that we offer as well. The entire portfolio of the government comes together to be able to serve our people and make lives better.
Director of Public Works Troy Worms was joined at the ceremony by one of the project's architects on Tuesday, Dudley Ramsey, who touched on his motivation for the design.
To get back to our traditional roots of Easter camping, we have allocated prime space for people to, pitch their tents. We've also spoken to our traditional roots of seafaring, and it was basically my intention to marry our tradition and our culture, almost a homage to my late father, who was also a seafarer. So, that was the driving force behind the design.
Mr. Ramsey says the project is expected to be finished before the end of the year, and it will include restroom facilities and lots of parking. Make sure to tune into Radio Cayman at 1 p.m. today as we carry a live press briefing. The Minimum Wage Advisory Committee will discuss the findings from the Minimum Wage Report October 2023. Panelists will field questions and receive feedback. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. United Nations aid workers say the world's biggest hunger crisis is in danger of developing in Sudan. Nearly a year of fighting between rival military factions has forced about 8 million Sudanese people from their homes. The head of the World Food Programme said victims of the conflict had been forgotten. Suspected jihadists in northeast Nigeria have kidnapped dozens of displaced people. Some local media reports say more than 300 were abducted, most of them women and girls, but the figures have not been verified. The British government has warned that it may judge Israel to be in breach of international humanitarian law unless it allows more aid into Gaza. The Foreign Secretary said patience with Israel was running thin. The widow of the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has called for an election day protest this month against President Vladimir Putin. Yulia Navalnaya said she had drawn hope from the large crowds who'd come out for her husband's funeral in Moscow. One of Russia's largest iron ore plants has been hit by 2 Ukrainian drones. Russian officials insist the site in the Kursk region is working normally. Pakistan's Supreme Court has ruled that the former Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto did not get a fair trial before his execution more than 4 decades ago. The Chief Justice said due process requirements had not been met. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio. Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its customers of a planned service interruption on Amity Street between the hours of 9 a.m. to 12 noon today, Wednesday, 6th March, to facilitate infrastructure maintenance. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it upgrades its water infrastructure and apologizes for any inconvenience caused.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The 8 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning, Cayman. Let's take a look at your latest weather compliments of our friends at CG Britcay. Present temperature 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but it feels like about 83. Mostly sunny on the outside. Winds out of southeast at 14 miles per hour. Relative humidity 79%. Barometric pressure is at 29.88 inches and dropping. Last night's low temperature was at 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Light to moderate southeasterly winds and seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next few days as a weak ridge of high pressure lingers across the area. Our forecast for today calls for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will rise to the mid-80s and winds will be southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Later this evening, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Winds will be southeast at 5 to 10 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. We're at a high tide presently. Low tide will be at 1:28 this afternoon and high again at 6:41 this evening. The outlook is for similar weather through Friday evening. It's your weather update right here on Radio Cayman.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britcay. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The 8 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
All right, once again, good morning, my friends. Let's take a look at the traffic situation. Looking at the east-west arterial, traffic seems to be flowing much better. Of course, getting to the Red Bay roundabouts, with traffic still coming out of Red Bay Prospect area. Run into some traffic there. Those going through South Sound will experience a free flow of traffic until getting midway. And of course, Walker's Road will see traffic as well this time of the morning. South Church Street, seeing some traffic along the Linford Pearson as well as on Crew Road, which is expected. Bobby Thompson Way, of course, seeing some traffic. Agnes Way as well. And of course, Huldah Avenue taking in that traffic, slow-moving traffic as you get to the CNB roundabout. Those continuing on Elgin Avenue and continuing via North Sound Road, heading up to the Butterfield roundabout. We have some traffic there as well. Remember, there's been an oil spill along the Dorsey Drive area. Sand has been thrown onto it, so just be careful traversing in that area. West Bay Road, looking out from the Ritz-Carlton, traffic's flowing smoothly into the Georgetown area. And of course, getting to the Butterfield roundabouts, we do see some traffic in that area as well. North Sound Road, traffic heading on to Godfrey Nixon Way moving smoothly. Some traffic coming off the Esley Tibbetts as well. Of course, looking at the inner streets, Shedden Road and traffic seems to be flowing smoothly so far. Edward Street down to one lane. You negotiate around the bends very slowly. Seafarers Way will see more pedestrian movement as another cruise ship is in. So we have 2 cruise ships in port. And of course, North Church Street, West Bay Road is seeing some moderate traffic there as well. Cayman Brack and Little Cayman, light traffic this time of the morning. Buckle up and stay safe. Your traffic report is right here on Radio Cayman.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters. for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Join Water Authority for the grand opening of its Cayman Brac Customer Service Office at the Avistar Building, Friday, 8 March, 10 a.m. till 12 noon. If you register for the new customer portal account or apply for piped water service, you will be entered for a chance to win a new phone or a water service gift certificate. Plus, you can meet the team and enjoy some refreshments. It all happens on Friday, 8 March, 10 a.m.
Hello, good people. This is Uncle Selvin. Long time you not hear from me. When I was growing up around here, if you was not feeling too good, there's nothing in a dip in the sea couldn't clear up. Or better yet, your mama would fix you some good bush tea. Mind you, they still works. But the truth be told, those were simpler times when advice about your health and wellness was pretty straightforward. And you trusted it. Today, around here for trusted advice, the folks at Healthcare Pharmacy is the ones I trust. Their team of healthcare professionals and pharmacists have been serving this community now for over 30 years. Healthcare Pharmacy with 2 locations, Grand Harbor and Governor Square. You can reach them wherever you is.
This is Catherine Ebanks Wilkes, and as the representative for West Bay Central and the Ministry for Sustainability and Climate Resiliency, I am concerned that our islands are at a high risk of loss and damage to seagrass beds. Stronger storms, warmer sea temperatures, and sea level rise can destroy seagrass beds. Culturally and economically important animals like green sea turtles and conch need seagrass to survive. To learn more about the climate risk to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Our guests are not in the studio yet. They should be here before or by 8:30, we trust. Meanwhile, we do have a caller, so let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Just checking to find out if you had got to check out the information that I had given you a few days ago that you were going to look into it for me, please.
No, nothing yet. Nothing yet on that.
Nothing yet. Okay, well, that's what I was just checking to see if you could be able to give us an insight of it. But I'm still checking on my end, but so as soon as I hear anything confirmed, more concrete, I'll let you know. But basically, what I told you guys, it came out of the camp. Okay? So people always say where there's smoke, there's always
fire. Yep, yes.
And it might be blazing higher than we think it is. It might be on the other end, and we just not reach it forefront. Yeah, like they do our mangroves, they tear us on the inside. By the time we get to us, by the time we see it out there, they already tore us. We don't watch it. We don't end up in those situations again.
Okay, I will certainly continue to inquire.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you too, caller. One of our listeners also pointed out during my conversation about the flow outage, they say that C3 also had an outage in Georgetown last Saturday for over 8 hours, and a similar terse message was sent out to their customers as well. Not surprising, folks, because here in the Cayman Islands, when you are in business, or in the days when earlier when I was younger, I worked at a department store part-time while going to school. Actually, it was walking distance from Hunter College. Hunter College was on 68th Street, And Alexander's department store was on 5th and 9th Street, right next door to Bloomingdale. So I could walk down either Lexington Avenue or 3rd Avenue and walk straight to a job. And you know what they always told you there? The customer is always right. The customer comes first. The customer is always right. That, of course, is not the way that most businesses here in Cayman operate. They don't operate like that at all. And maybe because they're not held to account in any way. We don't have a Better Business Bureau. We don't have any consumer protection legislation. I know a lot of people talk about price controls. That is something that is very difficult and usually does not work as well. And in a free and democratic society, some people question having such a thing as price control. But with the number of businesses now popping up in the Cayman Islands, look at the medical field, for instance. You see more and more medical facilities opening up. They have to be customer focused and customer centered, because if they're not, then there are other options out there as well. We do have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I was going to call you in regards to what you talked about this morning. I was been wondering why we don't have a satisfaction guarantee here on this island when you go and purchase anything from these people on this island, especially small business people. Let me tell you what happened to me with my phone. I went to buy a charger for my phone, right? And then the sales guy, oh, your phone needs cleaning. And I'm like, I didn't came and get my phone cleaned. What are you talking about? I didn't know what I got to do to clean the phone, or see. So he goes and he pushed something up into the charger hole there, and they didn't say, well, your phone is clean and it's $5. She didn't say nothing in the category. Told me the charger. And when I start using it to charge, I know it won't stay into the hole of the phone. They're like, the hole is too big now for the charger to go into it, right? So I went to Bush that belongs to the company, and nobody wants to take any responsibility for what it did to my phone. You understand? Can you hear me? Hello?
Well, yes, I can hear you. We just had my mic turned down for a minute because we were doing something, but I'm hearing you. Go.
Yes. No, like I was saying, nobody wants to take to the owner's store. Nobody wants to take responsibility of what it did to my phone because I never asked them to take my phone for me. You understand?
Yeah, you're drifting in. You're drifting in and out, caller.
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
I don't know if I should repeat myself, or did you hear everything I say at all?
You're still coming in muffled, very muffled.
Okay. I'll tell you that later.
All right, caller. Unfortunately, we weren't able to hear her clearly on there. Hopefully, like she said, she will call back. Meanwhile, it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, his Deputy and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Morning, OC, and thank you very much, too, for hosting us again this week. Say a big, huge good morning to the rest of Cayman and everyone particularly listening to the program this morning. It's good to be back, as always.
Good morning, yes. Certainly be good to be back, and I'd like to say a very pleasant good morning to everyone out there, and continue to be safe on our roads, and I'd like to give a shout out to our listeners over in the Sister Islands as well. Hope to get over there soon to see them, but it's another beautiful day in paradise, and a lot for us to give thanks for.
Certainly. And I trust everything is okay with you. I started out this morning by addressing the outage in the Bordentown area. yesterday, practically more than 24 hours, and my comments had to do with the terse response that we received after a long period of time from Flo speaking about the outage, and then I shared with our listening and viewing audience the release that came from Orrett in that regard as well. And my argument is that we shouldn't have to put up with the quality of service that we sometimes get, especially when you have other providers on island, and these companies need to up their game, otherwise the consumer needs to, will consider other options. There are people who I spoke to yesterday and said, if they had enough time, they would have switched, to another carrier as a result of that. Yeah. I don't know if either of you or both of you want to comment on the situation, and in general, our providers here in the Cayman Islands and the quality of service.
Well, in terms of the outage yesterday, my understanding it was, quite lengthy. I think you are right, OC. In terms of the quality of service that people will move if they are not happy or satisfied with the quality of service that our telecoms or any other service provider will do, and that is the one thing that a service provider will really prompt a service provider to up their own game is when they start losing customers and clients, and it starts to affect the bottom line. My view is that with the service providers we have, we get a decent service out of them. From what I've heard, and I have no way of verifying this, it was an issue with their service. I can only speculate, and my thought was, a server went down, and they had to replace it and bring it back up, and that can happen to anyone. Anyone, and I mean, like 2 weeks ago, AT&T had a huge outage in the U.S. So it's not something that's unique to us or anywhere else. These things happen. The question is then, and I think what I think Orrett needs to address with the service providers is that when you get a lengthy cut and cessation of services, how do you compensate your customers? Because they deserve to be compensated for the inconvenience. They paid for service, they don't get it. So though that is an issue, a major issue I see with it in terms of what the response should be.
Yeah, and of course yesterday we saw, Facebook went down, as well as
Messenger,
Instagram, as well. So it does happen. Everyone was really surprised that it took so long, for service to be restored, and it took so long for them to advise their customers in terms of what is happening. They're quick to remind you when your bill is due.
Although, see, one has to beg the question whether or not those delays in reaction and lack of response are due to the back offices per se of these telecom companies, and in particular Flo at this point, being moved offshore.
Yes.
Is that the lag time? Is that the who calls the shots? Who makes those announcements? Is that the person across the hall from you here in Cayman now, or is that someone across the ocean? These are some of the things that as the world becomes more and more global, and as you talked about competition, you got several carriers for internet now on the island, persons are going to find ways of reducing costs in order to be competitive. And quite often in an effort to reduce costs for competitiveness, you end up reducing services and you end up being less customer friendly than than we're accustomed to. But these are in everything that happens. OC, there is pros and cons. So when we talk about introducing competition in different sectors and stuff like that, there will be trade-offs. There will be things that I always talk about Flow when it was cable and wireless and growing up between Flow and CUC. Everything that you went to was sponsored by them.
Yeah, they were the poster child for the children for the Cayman Islands.
And then as competition comes in and as the market becomes more competitive and they have to pinch dollars to meet their fiduciary responsibility, less support goes into the community and more jobs go overseas to lower operating costs, etc. So these are the trade-offs that often happen and shouldn't. That's not a rule. There should be a balance, but often happens when we get in a competitive situation.
Okay. Well, we know that you gentlemen are going to be with us for until about 9:30.
Yeah.
So we're going to take the commercial break. When we return, I'm going to give you the mic because I know that there are things that you want to talk about, and at some point in time, we'd like to get your reaction to the announcement that has recently been made by the Needs Assessment Unit of the Comprehensive Update to Financial Assistance Programs aligned with the Financial Assistance Act 2022, and get you some feedback from you on that as well. Folks, don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its customers of a planned service interruption on Amity Street between the hours of 9 a.m. to 12 noon today, Wednesday, March 6th, to facilitate infrastructure maintenance. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it upgrades its water infrastructure and apologizes for any inconvenience caused.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Government school registration for the 2024-2025 academic year opens online on March 1st. Enrollment is based on a first-come, first-served basis with established priority categories. So please, register your child early to maximize your chances of getting them into a school within your catchment area. To learn more or register your child, please visit schools.edu.ky by June 30th. This message is brought to you by the Department of Education Services.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Deputy Leader of the Opposition and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh, and the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Roy McTaggart. Gentlemen, mic is yours.
Okay. Well, thank you, OC. I guess really where we can start this morning is talk about the recent Parliament meeting that we had last week, was it, or week before?
Last week.
Last week. See, it's but a distant memory. But we met over the course of 2 days. OC, I think when we were here, we said that there were 4 bills that were being debated, and there were more than 20 questions submitted by the opposition. The bills themselves we thought were not particularly contentious. They were things that we're aware of for some time, that were going to be coming before the Parliament for approval, and so they went through quite without any objections whatsoever, and the remainder were the parliamentary questions, and I have to say I was a bit disappointed at the number of questions that were actually responded to by the government by the time we finished. I give credit to the Premier. She was on top of hers, and a number of her questions, she answered her questions, and not all of them, but she undertook, and we have received a number of responses as well further from her.
In writing?
In writing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we were going to go ahead and try to share those this morning because I think, some of them are probably of relevance and of interest to the public.
Mm-hmm. Now, before you go there, just one question in relation to that. Even if there were responsibilities that were switched and people were given different or new subjects, their support staff, that is their chief officer, deputy chief officer, and if it relates to finance, then the chief financial officer, they would all still be in place. So that should really not deter their ability to provide you with answers if they have just assumed a new responsibility, because the technocrats are always there.
Yes.
No, that shouldn't.
That should not affect it.
I think also, to be fair on another point, we'll see. We kind of thought that after we're at the end of going into the end of the first quarter of the year, that there would have been more business. We kind of expected to have 4 to 5 days at least in the House. We finished up in 2 days, even with the interruptions on Monday. I shouldn't call it an interruption, but the important update we had in the afternoon from the Commissioner of Police on the shooting on Sunday evening. We still managed to finish on Tuesday evening, and it's also, I think it's fair to say that the Premier was actually willing to come back. We never made it to Thursday to what we consider Private Members' Day, or we consider it Opposition Day, but it's really Private Members' Day, and there was a Private Members' Bill, but that was withdrawn. Mm-hmm. And so with a number of questions still outstanding, even though we were uncertain whether the questions were ready to be answered, had been prepared to be answered, the Premier did offer to come back in on Wednesday morning just to hear to the questions. Okay. But after discussing it, we were not sure what questions would be answered, whether or not, so we agreed. And she made a commitment that we would have them by the end of the week, and we received them on the weekend, maybe.
Yeah, it was a total of 7.
Yeah,
has been received since we.
So I just wanted to say that it wasn't that she did offer to come in for us just to do questions.
Okay, great. Yeah. No, Premier has been quite accommodating, in her, whatever it is that she's trying to do, and to me personally, it's seems as if she wants to continue that bipartisan relationship, that is there, and making an effort to do that and create that atmosphere.
Yeah, we have a job to do as an opposition, and we certainly will not shun that responsibility. However, I do think that it is best for the country after the past 3 years that we've gone through to also provide some leeway to allow the government to settle in and to start to get as much as they can get done for the people between now and the election. So it does no one any good to continue to just fight. We will not shun our responsibility as under the Constitution as opposition, but certainly we recognize the efforts being made there, yes.
Great. Okay.
Okay, if I could just pick up here with at least start off the parliamentary questions that we've received written responses for. First one I'll just deal with was one that I submitted, and it asked the Premier to advise the House what additional revenue was expected to be raised in 2024 and 2025 by the increase in stamp duty on high-end property that was announced in the budget, but which she has now told the Chamber of Commerce has been reconsidered. So it appears that they are not moving forward with that, with the stamp duty raise there. And there
was a second
part
to that, saying that it was in the next.
Yeah, she said that the planning estimates, the response was, includes additional revenue from a possible increase in stamp duty. The 2024 financial year does not include any additional revenue from this source, but 2025 financial year includes an additional $10 million from this source. So it would appear to me that their plan was to have there would be a real delay in the implementation of this new revenue source, or not new revenue source, but the increase in the stamp duty rates. And they were forecasting in 2025 to actually collect $10 million in 2025.
Is that likely to come from the proposal that was put forward in relation to properties on 7 Mile Beach, or has that been totally abandoned?
Well, from what I recall, and she said that it was no longer being considered.
Okay.
Or they had stopped it, abandoned it. Is my understanding was the outcome. So it would appear that my immediate reaction when I heard it and thoughts was, well, okay, so there was revenue that they were hoping to raise that they're now saying they're not going to collect or raise. So what are they going to do about replacing it? Or, is there some plan to look at other sources and other ways of trying to raise this revenue? Or is it the case that they're not going to do anything at all? And I don't think that's been articulated at this point in time. So that was one of the questions. So how are they going to make up the shortfall in 2025? So it would have seemed to me then, if they're not going to say anything about it, that what would really be happening is that they would just leave it for the next government to deal with, because that would be a 2025 problem.
Okay.
And so that sort of thing is what I thought were some of the questions that we had. So, $10 million is not just pennies. That's a decent sum of money with regard to the government's revenue sources. The next question, again, was from me. Again, it had to do with, I asked a question with regard to ask her to advise the Parliament what the quantities of non-monetary gold, including gold bullion, imported into the Cayman Islands for the years 2019 through 2023, and a breakdown of the total revenue, including import duty, derived from the importation, and what quantities and total revenues are projected for 2024 and 2025. Now, OC, this question arose out of a government decision in 2022 to implement a 4% tax on gold that was imported into the Cayman Islands. There was no public discussion, no public advance notice, anything. It just implemented it and gazetted it in November of 2022. And what I know is that prior to that point, there were significant inflows of money, of gold. And to be truthful, there are other precious metals that come into the islands, well, silver, platinum, that sort of stuff that come into there for investors, people to buy and to hold as part of their investment portfolio. And the effect of that tax was to drive the amount of gold imports down to zero. It just dried up completely. And it came through in the answer that the minister gave us. And what they said, although the data includes all precious metals imported, approximately 99% of the totals are in respect to gold bullion. Although the parliamentary question asked for quantities, the answer does not provide quantities simply because Customs and Border Control advised that it is not 100% certain of the quantities. However, the indicative quantities can be provided as a response to a supplementary question. Mr. Speaker, the total revenue derived from importation was as follows. No revenue was collected between 2019 and 2023. Totally expected, because there was no tax.
And prior to that, was there a tax?
No, there never has been. Precious metals have never been taxed. Okay.
So what would be the downside then? Since you weren't getting anything to begin with, it was coming in, and we still are not getting anything. But what are the effects of that in terms of businesses and generating other types of income from it?
Well, the thing is that there was, local persons not able to buy the gold locally anymore. If they want gold, they're going to have to go, they'll have to get it overseas, or this company would have to, those that provide the service would have to go ahead and do it. There has been none coming in. And I mean, I think it's had a very detrimental effect. I think some detrimental effect on the entities locally that actually provide that service. So continue with the answer that was given. The tariff rate on non-monetary gold, including bullion, was 0% until November 2022, when it was changed to 4%. From the increase in tariff, the number of declarations made with respect to importations decreased from 320 declarations valued at $22.5 million in 2022 to 61 declarations valued at $2.83 million for the first 11 months of 2023. Regarding the quantities and total revenue projected for 2024 and 2025, the government is of the view that both quantities imported and revenue therefrom will essentially be nil. So they're not forecasting anything to come from it. And I would hope, in light of that, that they might consider, rolling it back.
So there are Caymanian companies out there, and one that significantly invested in building the industry and putting in a physical plant. And this is a booming sector of, if you want to call it, financial services, and there's just a couple other countries in the world doing it. And persons that invest in bullion and bank it, as they say, there are fees and stuff that are paid, and there's nothing wrong with actually looking, if they had done some public consultation, looking at import permits and things of that nature. What people are concerned about is that they see bullion as a currency. And if you're starting to tax currencies, in every country that taxed it coming in, it failed. So what they did then, because there was a rush of it going out, they started taxing it going out. But persons that bring in, what was that, $61 million worth of bullion and bank it here, they come to visit it. They come to look at it. They rent hotel rooms. They bring their families. It's just another extension of financial services and the type of business that we want in Cayman, where it's not persons coming in to compete with locals or setting up offices, but people that see the destination as a safe place to invest and to come in and visit their investment, namely their bullion that they've put there, etc. So there was it had there wasn't a study done on the trickle down effect. I do happen to know the company, and I know that 2 Caymanians were laid off because of the downturn in business. I do know that they had more shipments going out than they had coming in since the tax was put on.
Okay. Paul, I got so caught up with the gold that I missed the commercial break. And just to say that, gold, investment in gold is also used as a hedge against inflation and things of that nature. And I think when I looked on the MSNBC, the financial channel, gold was going at something like $2,100 or $2,300, somewhere around there, per ounce. So, it's way up there now. So the activity in it would be good as well. Folks, we're going to take that commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy to understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Hey Bobo, have you taken the pledge?
What pledge?
The Safe Drivers Pledge, to show your dedication to fostering a culture of responsible driving. Some of the accidents we have in Cayman could have been avoided simply by drivers being more vigilant behind the wheel.
You're right, Our actions behind the wheel can have serious consequences. Everyone should make a commitment to drive safely. Where can I take the pledge?
Visit gov.ky/road safety/pledge.
Thanks. I'll tell others to take the pledge too.
Let's make our roads safer together and say no more for 2024. Visit www.gov.ky/road safety for more information and to take the pledge.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, Deputy Leader and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. Before I pass the mic back over to you, and I know sometimes you may have some birthday shout-outs, but you will leave those till the conclusion of the show. But I just want to say to you, at any point in time, if you want to give those shout-outs, you may do so as well. So we've been asked to send birthday shout-out greetings to their church brother Roland Ebanks. Today is his 88th birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Roland, 88 years old. He says, may God continue to bless him with good health and strength and many, many more years to come. And the blessings are coming from Sister Tanya and Brother George. So, Mr. Roland Ebanks, happy 88th birthday to you. Gentlemen, back over. Short time we'll have, and then we'll be right back to headline news.
Okay. The other question that I've received a response to was one that I asked the Minister for Financial Services and Commerce, the Honourable Andre Ebanks, to advise what resources the ministry has provided or is providing to support the network of Cayman Islands offices overseas. So I'm speaking of, primarily of the New York office and the Singapore office, when we do get to that, having that one. The London office is been established for many, many years and operation. I know it is well staffed and functioning. So the question really wasn't directed at London office at all. It was more about the other offices that they've been trying to get open, which was, you know, a part of our policy when we were in government. So the answer given to us was that following the resignation from the rep for North America, recruitment exercise was commenced. The application period would close on the 4th of March. That was 2 days ago. And it is anticipated that should a qualified candidate be identified, a new representative for North America can be in post before the end of Q2. With regard to the Asia office, local authorities require a Singapore company to be established to bring the office into existence. Company formation process was initiated, and after following standard procedures that include updating the company's constitutional documents to meet both Cayman and Singapore's legal requirements, the process was recently completed and company is now established. The representative for Asia also had to apply for an employment pass from the Singapore authorities. This has just been approved in principle and should be fully approved once he is on the ground in Singapore in early Q2. The representative for Asia also identified an office space which is fit for purpose, now actively working with the service providers on the ground in Singapore to complete the office setup and fit out. It's anticipated there will be a soft opening in early Q2, with the official grand opening to occur towards the end of Q2 of 2024. The deputy representative, who previously was assigned to Asia, is now the deputy representative for financial services to Europe, focusing on financial services, maritime, and aviation in Europe. It is anticipated that the deputy representative for financial services to Europe will be fully deployed on the 2nd of March. That was this week. Given the cost of complexity of operating directly out of Brussels, it was more economical to operate out of the government's London office, as it provides a central, well-established and sufficiently resourced location to operate and to travel from as needed throughout Europe. As the focus is primarily on financial services, maritime and aviation matters, the Ministry of Financial Services, as well as its international consultants, continue to support the representatives in the 3 overseas offices that are under the ministry's remit.
Now, for the benefit of, if I could interrupt there, for the benefit of our listening and viewing audience, number one, why was Singapore chosen as one of the places to establish an office? And number two, what sort of approval is required from the United Kingdom government in order, or from the United Kingdom, in order for us to establish offices in these various jurisdictions? Because I assume that they do not in any way enjoy any diplomatic status whatsoever. It's like, operating a business out of there.
Yeah. And you are correct, OC. That I think, if my memory is correct, they do have to get a, I forget, is it a letter of entrustment?
Yeah, I think.
From the UK to allow for these offices to be open. Why? So that is part of the whole process. And why the government chose Singapore over Hong Kong, which we, during our term, we had identified as the place to be. And, they undertook their own evaluation or review, whatever it was, and decided that, no, we don't want to go to Hong Kong. We want to go to Singapore. And, Singapore had turned into a real bustling center for financial services in Asia. So it's not inconceivable that could ultimately prove to be the right decision in time.
You want to be where the players are.
Absolutely. But, the players, too, are also in Hong Kong. And
but, of course, the Hong Kong situation, and I'm sure that this was taken into consideration as well, the political situation with China, and you see China wanting to dig more, have its hand more and more into Hong Kong from a political standpoint, and we don't know when it will come from an economic standpoint as well. So from a political standpoint, Hong Kong may be a little bit unstable in the future.
Yeah, I mean, and that's clearly a possibility with it, to be honest with you, OC. So I accept that. That obviously, too, would have been a consideration when they were looking at this whole thing and deciding on to go to Singapore rather than Hong Kong.
Okay, we have about a minute and a half before we go to our commercial break, so I don't know what we can squeeze in that minute and a half. Or Paul, do you want to take it now? Want to take the... He's not ready yet for us, so...
Which one? Sure. Well, we can... one question that was in my name, OC, was to the Honourable Landry Banks as well, and it says, can Honourable Minister advise, and you spoke to some of these things earlier, the House, what targets for improved customer service have been set for the Needs Assessment Unit, the NAU, following the introduction of the improved system announced on February 5th, 2024? And the answer, OC, I'll try to get through. It's quite a lengthy answer. But what I'll do is just go to, what they outline are the critical KPIs or key performance indicators slated for measurement, and that is that the initial response time, respond to at least 90% of urgent inquiries within 24 hours, and less urgent inquiries within 48 to 72 hours. To the resolution time, establish a first contact resolution rate of 70% or higher to minimize client follow-up needs. And 3, wait times to support agent, maintain an average hold time of less than 5 minutes while taking account of the sensitivity and urgency of client inquiries, and target at least 80% of calls to be answered within a hold time of 3 minutes or less. These targets would be evaluated and adjusted based on client feedback and organizational priorities, ensuring continuous improvement. It goes on to say that given the substantial client volume handled by NAU, including financial assistance applications, documentation submissions, and inquiries, the CCT plays a pivotal role in efficiently managing this workload by processing requests and facilitating timely responses. The team ensures effective resolution. Since the implementation of the Zendesk platform on January 24th, 2024, the CCT has successfully resolved 1,175 inquiries.
Okay, folks, top of the hour, headline news. When we return, the conversation will continue with the Leader of the Opposition and his deputy, so don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Yesterday, today,
always and forever.
Always love. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
24 young people from 10 schools across Cayman will have their voices heard on Commonwealth Day, which is coming up on the 11th, when they debate 2 private members' motions in the 17th Annual Youth Parliament. You'll be able to hear the proceedings live on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, starting at 10:30 a.m. Nikki Haley is pulling out of the race for the Republican presidential nomination. It comes after President Joe Biden and Donald Trump swept the state primaries that were held on Super Tuesday, making a White House rematch between them even more likely. Biden won Democratic nominating contest in 14 states plus Iowa, where people voted by post, but lost in the territory of American Samoa by 11 votes. Meanwhile, Trump won 14 Republican contests, further cementing his strong overall lead over Haley, though she secured a surprise win in Vermont. The two men looked ahead to their likely rematch by trading insults after their wins were confirmed. Trump said the U.S. would no longer have a country if his opponent won the election, while Biden accused him of, quote, being driven by grievance, not by the good of Americans. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, his Deputy and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joe Hugh. We were talking about the parliamentary questions that were raised during question time in our Parliament last week, and they're not only sharing the questions with us, but the responses that they have received as well. So, gentlemen, back over to you.
Well, let me also pick up on a couple couple of topics that were answered during the session. One of those was on public transport, and I asked about the Deloitte report and if it had been to cabinet and been approved, and what were we with advancing our public transport system. So, and the response we received from the minister was that shortly after taking responsibility for that subject, he received the Deloitte report, and that the first thing that he did was hire 2 experts from the UK. What was unclear for me, and even in my questioning, was whether or not the response to hire whether or not A, the report had made it to cabinet, and B, whether or not the hiring of the 2 experts were in response to the report, or did he hire the 2 experts to review the report, or have they shelved the report and the 2 experts would be providing another report? Without knowing all of the details, it is at this stage, unfortunately, when we continue to battle with traffic and the solutions to traffic, it is disappointing that we haven't gotten any further after spending several $100,000 on the report, putting a lot of time into a report, I assume, and then now we are no further ahead than where we were when commissioning the report. So that was a bit disappointing. Another disappointing bit of news, I guess, although in both instances there's some action happening, but obviously we feel and the importance of these subjects that we should be a lot further along, and that is on the review of the National Development Plan. And we understood, we appreciated, it was obvious to the public that there was some pushback between the CPA, the ministry, and the Ministry of Resilience, is it? Sustainability and resilience. But now we understand that they have gone, rather than where we were, what we understood a few months back was that they had accepted the Plan Cayman framework document with some changes, and that was forwarded to go to cabinet. We understand now that a committee has been formed and that they have taken instructions once again from the CPA to start the process again of developing a framework document. Now, from my experience, the last framework document almost took us a year. So it is again unclear whether they have completely shelved Plan Cayman, or whether they are using Plan Cayman as a start and then making some changes. But if they have shelved it, or if they have gone back to the starting line, that will require public consultation, time frame of public consultation, the development of the document, and the back and forth to caucus and cabinet when going through the document. So I don't have any faith at all at this stage that there will be, and another important thing was that they have decided to split it up not into 5 zones, which I understood previously that was their issue with the Plan Cayman plan framework. They wanted to do all 3 islands all at once. They've now decided to split it up into 9 zones.
Okay.
So with 9 zones, that puts a lot of pressure on each area to be done within a certain amount of time to get the entire Grand Cayman done within 5 years, as the law requires, that there's a review done every 5 years. So you'd have to divide that where we were doing one zone per year. They're now going to have to almost double that in doing, almost 2 zones a year to fulfill the 5-year review requirement. And it's important just to point out that the National Development Plan only covers Grand Cayman. It does not cover the sister islands. So we still haven't heard anything about sister islands, whether there'll be a plan or an update on that building control plan in the sister islands. So those were 2 responses that we found we were a little disappointed in. We were also a bit disappointed in the response to the question for an update on the Ponciano Rehabilitation Center, the mental health facility. It is my understanding that there's an electrical issue with some of the outer buildings, and they have not been able to pass the BCU electrical inspection as yet. They're hoping that they should have that issue resolved towards the end of this quarter, so the end of this month. And then they also confirmed that there were 3 persons employed, 2 persons, the director and the HR, head of HR. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that perhaps without knowing when they were going to have control of the facility, it would be difficult to hire staff. Yeah. But obviously now at that point, and we can see perhaps if we take possession of that facility by the end of the month, then the recruitment will start, and that will take, I would think, a couple months to staff it up before we could get to the point where we start accepting clients. So,
but we should at least have people shortlisted by now, if not being prepared to offer them contracts, so that this interim period, I would have thought, would give them an opportunity to identify the qualified candidates for these particular positions. Now, that may sort of may not be attractive to some because some people may not have the ability to wait that long. There may be some who have to give notice, 30 days, 3 months, or whatever notice as well. But some sort of recruitment process could be, in train in the meantime.
One would have expected that to be the case, OC. Otherwise, you're not going to ever get off the ground. Yeah. And I mean, what I found disappointing as well is that every time we raise this issue in Parliament, we're told, it's coming. It's going to be in another 3 months, end of this quarter, we're going to be taking control of it, and we'll it's all going. It's just kicking the can down the road. Meanwhile, we know that the facility just sits there unoccupied, and from what people have been there and come back and told me that weeds and stuff like that starting to grow up around on the land in there, because it truly is disappointing to me that this is not receiving more attention because of the urgency of the situation. Because we have people with mental health issues that have great need for the facility, and one of the things we really were hoping to do it was to bring home those Caymanians that are housed in institutions overseas. To allow them to come back home and live out their life here, and be able to be amongst their families. And that's just being, I just don't think enough emphasis and concern is being placed on it with a view towards getting it operational. And so that's my 2 cents on it, really. I really am concerned about it, because that facility was just about complete by the time once we did made it office in 2020. So it's 2-3 years now that it's just sitting there.
Yeah, and one of the issues, I mean, we understood through questioning last year sometime that they were waiting on the director to be hired for handover, and that seems odd to me that this inspection process, this handover process could have happened a long time ago, but no, I guess there was no entity or individual that was in a position to receive the facility for whatever reasoning that is. And so now we're just getting to the certificate of occupancy inspections after the building had been closed up for an extended period of time. So it is very disappointing. As the leader said, a lot of people were looking forward to bringing home their loved ones, and there's so much need here on the island for that, as we see. And no sense hiding the fact that we drive around daily and we see the need for that facility, and for the attention to be paid with those who need help. The other thing we'll see, we didn't have the opportunity to raise, and again I raised it the last time we were on, and I just don't want people to think that we have forgotten about it, even though they have not heard anything from the government on it. And that is the East-West Arterial and where we are with that. We are as the opposition are called upon daily, and people ask us to see if we can find out what's happening. And there was a lot of finger pointing and a lot of back and forth on where the delays are and what reports need to be done. We just simply haven't heard anything recently, and I know that a lot of people out there are anxious to hear what is happening with that, and when will they see some relief coming in from the eastern districts. I balance that, OC, by saying that we are happy to see the works that we started on the Linford-Pearson Highway and along Shamrock Road, etc., being executed. I do believe people have seen some relief there as work continues, and the roads continue to be widened, but we still need some further relief coming out of the furthest districts away. Those who are impacted the most are desperate for some relief there.
I would just want to mention too that I saw, I think it was yesterday, in one of the news media, that they are now looking at, alternative routes for to have the East-West Arterial to extend it. That what was previously identified is certainly, it seems like it is likely or possibly going to be adjusted, and they were going to be moving the location and moving things around. So I mean, that is likely now to be further delays from what was being proposed.
Okay, let's take this commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
HSA's Urgent Care Clinic is now open 7 days per week to serve you better. Visit our dedicated team at Urgent Care Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and weekends and public holidays, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. No appointment necessary. If you are experiencing non-life-threatening symptoms and conditions such as the cold and flu, sprains and cuts, earaches, nausea and vomiting, visit Urgent Care's walk-in clinic at the main entrance of the Georgetown Hospital, now open every day. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. To remind you that in the studio with me, the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, Deputy Leader and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. Gentlemen.
Okay, OC, a couple of questions that I had in my name that just never got answered during this. Actually had representation from constituents about it.
Okay.
One was this expansion of the Owen Roberts Airport, and I asked the minister to state why the extension of the Owen Roberts International Airport runway has been almost doubled from the original recommendations of the consultants to build 1,000 feet of runway to now consideration that the planned extension will be 1,900 feet into the North Sound, and whether the consultants or government have considered the increased environmental or other adverse impacts, including on the passage of boats and on the communities that the longer runway extension will impinge on, and see what steps the government will take to mitigate these factors. So a number of people in my constituency had raised this issue with me, because the 1,900 feet extension would take it up to Grand Harbour, the entrance there to Grand Harbour, and certainly as well tropical gardens affected by it a very significant way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked this question to try and elicit some response as to why we're going with 1,900 feet rather than the 1,000 feet that was originally projected or suggested by the consultant. So that question hasn't been answered, and I hope that we'll hear from the minister at some point with regard to it. I also asked him another question with regard to the Cayman Airways route to Barbados. Will the minister update the House on A, the number of paying passengers travelling on Cayman Airways between the Cayman Islands and Barbados since the route was launched? B, what are the forward bookings for the route out to September 2024? And C, what is the amount of increased business that Cayman Airways has seen on the Los Angeles route with the introduction of the second flight as part of the arrangements with Barbados? Mm-hmm. So we're now 6 months into this deal and this arrangement with Barbados. What's developing? And I've got to be honest with you and with the listening public. The information and the chatter that we are hearing is that the flights between Cayman and Barbados are very, very light. We're talking in the teens, in the 20s, maybe. It's certainly no heavy loads that they were expecting. I think it's proven to me. It appears it is proving extremely slow to develop. Now, I know the minister had stated publicly that they had this guarantee of a 60% load factor from the government of Barbados. Question then for me, immediate reaction to that is, okay, so are they actually collecting the cash, which would have been, for me, a supplementary question that I would have asked.
Right.
Because I want to know, is Cayman Airways getting, are they being disenfranchised in any way with regard to this agreement? And how is it operating? How well is it doing? Because the information that I hear is that the loads are very light.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Before you go on to another question, you still have something else on that?
No, nothing further on that. In fact, I finished.
One of our listeners has an observation and say most construction contracts have a delay clause. That is, contractors pay for any delay in handover past the completion date. And if the holdup with the mental health facility has anything to do with the completion of construction in order to get a CO, can your guests answer that as the contract started under their term?
Thank you, Ossie. I thank the person for that. I am certain that there was some clauses in there. What is uncertain at the moment is why the handover didn't happen earlier. And it was our understanding that there was no one for the GC to hand over the property to. This is why the inspections are just starting now. As far as we were told, the property was completed, the building was completed some time ago. So then I would believe that as in a standard contract, there are retentions, which they may have had an issue with because your retention is on completion, and they can argue about handover, but there would be retention monies held and also warranties and that sort of thing. So I'm certain there are, and from the response we got, there was no indication that the contractor or the subcontractor in this case were trying to avoid fixing the issue. I think it's once they went in to do the handover, and it's obvious from the answer that they failed the electrical for one particular issue that they're trying to resolve before the end of the quarter. So the question is, when was handover supposed to be, and why didn't it happen from then? And it's just happening now.
Okay. You had other questions?
No, I didn't. I just, I didn't want us to, and I'll just do my wrap up now. We'll see if that's fine.
Sure. We have about 6 minutes because you're going to be leaving at 9:30.
Yeah. We do have to travel across town to get to another prearranged engagement. I guess the one thing that we haven't touched on, Ossie, and would be.
Could I interrupt you?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Paul is telling me that we have a caller on hold. I don't know if you want to try to accommodate the caller.
If it's one caller, I have no issue with it.
Okay. Paul, we'll take the caller then. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Good morning, Doc.
And good morning to your guest, the Honorable Minister of the Honorable
Leader.
Minister of the Opposition.
Thank you.
Leader of the Opposition, and the Honorable Minister and the Honorable MP, Mr. Joey. I would just like to engage the Minister about the airport runaway.
Go ahead, sir.
Sir, have you ever seen the Master Development Plan for the airport that was published by the British government back in 2000, 2001, 2003, 2004?
Boy, Doc, I would say I probably did see it.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Okay.
Because if you did, you would not have been saying things that you have said. Firstly,
okay.
The Master Development Plan stated that we were in trouble from the time that we started to expand the airport and did not own the land that was surrounding the airport. And the reason for that, sir, is because the land was owned by a little man called Old Joe. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted $800,000 for all that land where they would drive it, where the car is now, all that land there to go right back to the North Sound. And the administration of the day thought that this little black man with $800,000 in his pocket would be too much for him, and they refused to buy it. And then when I became on the board, I was deputy chairman to Dick Arch and to Hardin Watler and all those people. We tried to buy the land back, and the then owner wanted millions of dollars for it, which the government wouldn't spend to get the land back. And they told us then, the British government, the Master Development Plan says that the best option for us then was to move the airport from where it was and to move it out east. And they selected 3 different places where we could move it out east, where the government had hundreds of acres of land. And at that time, they said the cost would have been about $200 million, not including the road to it. We didn't want to spend that. And then the ministers who was in at the time didn't want to embark on that development because it wasn't going to be finished in their administration and they would not get their names on it. So they abandoned that. And then they decided that they would not move the airport. Then they decided that they would expand the airport. And we were told to expand the airport was a foolhardy ambition, and that we would this kind of reaction that you were talking about now, this would happen to us. But we went on anyway and did it because one of the things that they were saying that airplanes are going to be larger, carrying more passengers, and coming from a longer distance, and we had to take all of that into view. When we came, I was deputy chairman of the airport, and Dick Arch was the last time I was deputy chairman. I would say Dick Arch was the chairman of the board. We had a development plan to go upstairs to expand the airport on the second floor and put in board and bridges, which were going to cost us something like $4 million, not 20. Like people in your government said it was going to cost us. I have all of the information and the plans all in my archives.
So caller, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but where does this have to do with extending the runway into the North Sound?
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
I'm going to get to that. So the airport, we said that the airport had to be expanded at least 1,600 to 1,800 feet. And it would be foolhardy to go out and expand it into towards Georgetown, because they warned us about that too, about the high buildings and about if there's a disaster. And usually the history of disasters is when the plane is taken off and when it's landing, and that would be foolhardy to do so, because if there was a disaster, we would not get to the hospital quickly enough. We decided to go out into the North Sound. We did all of the work to go up the North Sound. We found out that it was 1.5 foot mud down to get to the bottom of the sea there, and all the plans all show that. So we decided they had the Canadians come. They had this one come and make offer for us, and then the offer was like millions of dollars, and we said we're not spending that money, and so forth. And then I wrote to the Attorney General and asked him if we could have a sole provider. And the Attorney General said, yes, you can have a sole provider, provided you make the business case. We made a business case, and we said, get the permission. And we wrote to Arch and Godfrey and asked them to give us a price for doing it. They gave us a price. They gave us an outline of how long it was going to take, the steps that it was going to take, and then Dick Arch.
Doc, sorry I have to rush you, but these we're going to close off for them because they say they had to leave at 9:30. They have to leave at 9:31 now. If you could shorten it for us, we'd appreciate it.
Wait, 1 minute more to get to the runway.
Okay.
Dick Arch then said, McPhail, you form a group within the organization, and I'm going to bow out because I'm the family to Arch and Godfrey. Arch and Godfrey came. They gave us a price which was good. They were going to put a runway in the north, 1,800 feet. That was going to cost us about $20 million. We would not have to pay for that because they were going to take some of the money that we were getting for the infrastructure from the departure tax to pay for that, and we would not have to pay any money for that out of our pocket because they say they know we didn't have any permission to borrow any more money. We sent a letter of intent to Arch and Godfrey. The government failed. New administration came in and called us up at the administration building and said, stop, cease and desist. Cease and desist from what you're doing. We ceased and desist, and then you got what you have today, put in by your government.
Doc, thank you very much for that. Gentlemen, Before we go to the commercial break, I'm going to stretch it a little bit with Paul's permission to give you an opportunity for your closing comments so we don't delay you any further.
Okay, thank you, O.C. I mean, it always is a pleasure to be here with you, and I appreciate it. I just want to close off, really, just mentioning one last question we had asked in Parliament, and that was with regard to the minimum wage advice, the minimum wage reports.
Mm-hmm.
And, we see that the government is today supposed to hold, I understand they're holding a press conference with regard to it. Was my understanding that the report was going to be released today, but we know that happened on Monday. And so I'm looking forward to listening and hearing what is said at the press conference today, because this is an issue that we need to bring to a conclusion and get things in place. So thank you again for hosting us. I say to the rest of the country, enjoy your Wednesday, and we look forward to be back again with you again.
Thank you very much, and thanks for being so accommodating as well. Mr. Hugh, anything?
Yeah, thank you, O.C. And just one birthday, Miss Emily May Bodden,
Mm-hmm.
from what we call Banana Walk.
Yep.
She was 90 last Friday.
Oh,
She did have some health issues and underwent surgery, and I understand she's recovering well. So I just want to send out some belated birthday wishes to her publicly. Wish her a happy birthday and a speedy recovery. Also, OC, just recently in the papers, we talked the last time about Caymanian making waves in many areas, including sports. We had a young man, Malik Powell, who joined a semi-pro football team in St. Lucia, I think it is. And also, Kyra Rabes won the silver for her for UNC in the 1,000 freestyle, and Alison Jackson, also at UNC, was third on the podium for the 50-yard freestyle. So our athletes representing us well for their universities. So I just want to send out congratulations to them and all other athletes out there who represent us so proudly.
Excellent. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Calling all girls in STEM, the Family Resource Center is hosting the Inspire Her Women Inspiring Girls Conference on Saturday, March 9th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Come learn more from female leaders in STEM and gain confidence and valuable advice on how to pursue a career in your chosen field. Learn the steps to turn your dream into a reality. Call 949-0006 or email frc@gov.ky.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Apologize for having to abbreviate Dr. Macfield's call, but as had been indicated before we took the call, that I think we had about 6 minutes for them, and I had to respect our guest's position as well in terms of their having to attend another meeting and having to leave on time as well. Meanwhile, we had a caller on WhatsApp as well. I believe, Paul, that caller is still there. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning, my friend. How art thou?
Fine, thanks. And yourself?
I'm great, thanks.
Yes, I was hoping to catch the leader of the opposition, Honorable Roy McTaggart, and also the deputy, Mr. Joey Hugh, MP. There's a couple of points that came out of that discussion with them. First of all, in regards to the telecommunications, I think this comes right back down to what is in the franchisees agreement. Years ago, as you fully well know, we had control of the telecommunications here, and just about every aspect you can consider. And there used to be a clause in the agreement that to be the CEO or head of the franchisee, you had to be an engineer, come out through the engineering ranks. I think that still obtains with CUC, and it's probably for obvious reasons that it was an engineering led company, and they seem to have transitioned otherwise, let's put it that way, over time. Now, in Cayman, we expect to have first world services, products, et cetera. We look to North America, not so much Europe, but with travels, we also get an idea of the products and services over there. But certainly we pound our chest and say it's first world. Now, if we're going to do that with looking at the first world, we need to look at ourselves very closely and say, what do we need to put in place to emulate that? One of the things that has been languishing for years, and I mean decades, is the provision of a Professional Engineers Registration Act. We must be one of the few, if any, countries in the Caribbean that do not have such an act, right? Next door, Jamaica, Bermuda, which we like to cite, Dominica, Barbados, Trinidad, they have a Professional Engineers Act. And it's to protect the health and safety of the public for many things. And utilities are essential services now. And they always have been, but with the growth of the internet, et cetera, we need to make sure it's properly regulated and managed. Now, in some parts of the United States, and I'll confine it to there, you cannot own a business, an engineering business. You cannot be a consultant unless you're a professional engineer. And that's at the state level, every state. And therefore, that ties right back into the Professional Engineers Act. So I'll leave it for that particular topic right now.
Okay.
The other topic, Mr. Macfield called in, Dr. Macfield called in, was about, and I support him because I was there. We need to look at that report if the opposition isn't aware of it, and revisit it, because for the safety of the public, the safety of flying passengers, we cannot continue to build up around Owen Roberts International Airport and expect at the same time to have the airport grow and grow and grow. And I was in discussion a few weeks ago with Honorable Minister of Tourism and in somewhat of a social setting. And I raised the issue to him. I said, why are you spending $45 million on a ground, on a general aviation terminal when 20-something years ago the plan was to go east? Have you considered your mass ground transportation plan into that concept? You need to be integrated. He didn't know what I was talking about. It's like I was talking Greek.
Oh, wow.
So, it's too much operating in silos. There's no integrated plan. And, we need to think about longer term, which has always been our challenge, I would say. And I'm so sorry that I missed the members of the opposition, because I would have liked to hear their feedback on that.
Okay, yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So that is my contribution, sir, and I thank you very much for hearing me out.
I thank you for your contribution as well. And as far as telecoms are concerned, no one should know it better than you.
Well, yes, I do have somewhat of a background.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Please stay safe as well. We have another caller on hold. We're going to take our last commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget, our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're in the last leg of the show this morning. One caller still on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Minister Brian here. How are you?
Good morning, Minister. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. I was really hoping to get in when the members of the opposition were on, the Honourable Leader of Opposition and Deputy Leader, so I could have done it in the public domain in respect to the answers. I want to first say that I apologize that they haven't gotten the answers on the floor of Parliament. That was based on a request of their own member, the former Minister of Tourism. We only had 2 days of sitting at the House. We were expected to go to 3. So the answer was going to be given on the 3rd day, which is the Wednesday. And the member indicated he wouldn't be in on the Tuesday. So I delayed the answers to the Wednesday. But unfortunately, fortunately, we finished the business of the House quicker than expected, and therefore the reason why they weren't able to get the answer.
Yeah, I think mention was made of that, and there was also mention of the fact that the Premier was prepared to go on until Wednesday, but they decided that it wouldn't be necessary or something of that nature.
Yeah. So I don't, because I take pride in trying to respond as urgent as possible, because I remember what it was like asking questions. So I was hoping to just answer them while on air, and then allow them to have the supplementaries that they would normally have on the floor of the House.
Okay.
But they're gone, and I know they have other business to deal with. So I'm going to just answer them for the public, if that's okay with you.
Sure. More.
Okay, so the first one, or the last one they were speaking about, was the Orrett Roberts International Airport's runway extension for 1,900 feet. And their question was, why was the proposed extension for the Orrett Roberts International Airport almost double from the original recommendations? Now, one of the first things you need to establish is which original recommendations are they speaking about in their question, because I've since recently, as becoming the minister, had a new report altogether. So are they talking about the one they did some 8 years ago? I don't know, so I couldn't really answer their question specifically. But the report itself is available online. And as per the standing orders, anything that's in the public domain, you can't ask a question on, because it forces you to go do your work and find it out. But all the same, I was happy to answer the question. And the answer to the question was quite straightforward. The current landing space distance available at the Orrett Roberts International Airport is 6,600 feet. The extension will result in an available landing space distance of 8,000, which was decided following a discussion with the various airlines servicing Europe in particular. The extension beyond the additional runway landing distance length is to meet the safety standards of the overseas territories aviation requirements. So we can't get past that. And by extension, those of the Civil Aviation Authority, in order to accommodate the standards for runway and safety area. This necessitates the additional 1,900 feet into the North Sound. As you heard commentary about previously, as Dr. Macfield had said, that they should have bought the land inland first, but unfortunately that opportunity was missed many decades ago, and I don't think it's this administration or the last administration's fault for that, but it is what it is. Part B of their question, the master plan has considered the potential impacts on the marine access. And I give respect to the opposition leader and his concerns for his constituents in Grand Harbor. And I also have constituents in the Tropical Gardens area who have raised this concern for me about access to the North Sound. And I can give them the comfort of knowing that there will still be access by marine transportation into the North Sound. During the environmental impact assessment that will be done, which there's an RFP going out for the procurement of an environmental consultant, they will have to potentially divert the normal traffic line, or I guess you would say waterway, to more to the east in order to go around it, but they will still have access to the North Sound, because we could never devalue people's property by locking off marine accessibility. People bought their properties on the waterfront accessibility. So that will still be there. And if it can't be done based on the environmental impact assessment, the government of the day, and with me as minister, will probably have to reconsider whether we want to extend the airport. So this, though the government has agreed to the extension, there's still a number of steps that has to be done. The environmental impact, as well as the socio-economic impact on the people in the area, also has to be factored in. But there has been preliminary assessments that determine those impacts can be mitigated with simple solutions. So I respect the fact that he's asked that question. I would do the same on behalf of my constituents. But he can be assured, and his constituents be assured, that they will still have marine accessibility. Now, the fact that it's increased 1,900 feet, if they have gone online, to the airport and saw the report. The report is quite large. I think it's over 400 pages. But their job and their responsibility as opposition members is to go read the report because information is available to them. They shouldn't have to ask the question in Parliament. There was another question that they asked. I don't know if you have time, but I'm happy to answer all three questions.
I still have about 7 minutes with you. No problem.
Okay, so let's see if we can ask, the one about Barbados. So it says the honourable member, the passengers traveling Cayman Airways between the Cayman Islands and Barbados since the route was launched. What are the forward bookings for the route out to September 2024? What is the level increased business for Cayman Airways since Los Angeles route was introduced and the extra flights as a part of the arrangement with Barbados? I think the honourable member highlighted that there has been a revenue guarantee, so he accepts that the Cayman Airways is not going to lose one penny of the taxpayers' money will be lost. This is an opportunity for economic growth and potential businesses growth. So, for example, just recently at the Economic Forum, we heard the great increase in medical tourism from the Eastern Caribbean islands, where now has direct service to the Cayman Islands, where we have great medical services. So that's one benefit. The other benefit is obviously we have a lot of people here on island from the Eastern Caribbean that can travel back home directly now without going through the States. There's also the benefit, which was the initial focus in the first place, was helping to sustain the next LAX route, because we were doing one flight to Los Angeles per week. And in order to go into two times per week, which is what the industry was asking for and what the tourism product needed because of our a number of days a person staying in the island was 6 days, that having a 7-day turnaround for LA means that we couldn't maximize the potential. So a second flight was necessary for growth. So we thought that the Barbados connectivity can help boost up some more percentage on the second flight once we knew that when we get into that second flight, the numbers would decrease on both flights a little bit. So this 1 year guaranteed agreement with Barbados will help booster that until it gets traction and can live on its own. So in my mind, I know there's been a lot of criticism of the Barbados flight, but I don't think it's justified for a number of reasons. One, there's no chance of loss of revenue, period, because it's a revenue guarantee.
And we're collecting that as we go.
As per the contract, the collections are deemed every 3 months, and they're obligated to do so.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I don't think that was appropriate for the leader of opposition to ask that question, because it's a business contract relationship between Cayman Airways and the Barbados government, and they will collect it. If not, just like any other company business, they'll take them to court. Now, I don't think it's going to get to that point. Now, collections will be done just like other companies. Sometimes it may be late 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, or whatever, but it will be collected as per any agreement, right? So, but just to answer specifically his question about how many flights have been booked, forward booking up to September, and there's been only, at this point, 559 passengers booked. Now, with people pre-booking, it depends on how quickly you want to book. You can book 2 weeks in advance. You can expect to have a large number of bookings for September right today. So this is just real time today, and in fact, it'll be as of last week, what the forward bookings are. And again, going back to the fact is, even if only one person flies on a plane, our planes make money when they're in the sky. We don't make any money with them on the ground.
Yep.
And a person may think to themselves to say, okay, then, well, we could be using that plane to do something else. And the reason why we chose to allow this agreement to happen, because it's midweek. Midweek, we don't have maximum use of all 4 planes during the week. It's on the weekends when those planes are necessary. So it was okay to do this midweek flight, because otherwise the plane would be on the ground. And just to put that in real terms for the average person, it's like you renting a car and never driving it. You're wasting your money. You're better off to make use of it so it can turn around and make money for you. So the more often that plane is in the sky, the better opportunity for us to get return on our investment. So that's just a justification. And I think it may be perceived from outside that this is not a good thing, but you don't get great chances if you don't get great opportunities unless you take the chance. And I think that it's fair that this is an opportunity where I can prove Cayman being a hub, if I dare say, of the Caribbean from across the world. And then there's the other added component from a financial services perspective with the LAX coming in from the Asian markets from LA to Cayman. And it's proving that this Barbados connectivity flight will help boost that. And if we don't feel it is necessary anymore at the end of the contract, we won't renew it, there's a possibility of that, because the public perception alone, even if we're making $10,000 in each flight by the revenue guarantee, the public will say, well, you're not doing nothing. There's only 10 people on the flight. Yeah, but if we're protected by the revenue guarantee, that's not on us. That's for those who have gotten to the agreement to ensure that the passengers on it. Matter of fact, it's beneficial for us here in the Cayman Islands to say we have a flight that is guaranteed and we can jump on that plane whenever time we want to. So I want us to look at it from that perspective. And in the long term, I think this will be beneficial. You can start to see other businesses already starting to be grateful for the opportunities with the connectivity to the Eastern Caribbean. So there was another question about services to Cayman Brac. I don't know if we have time to answer that one.
Got about 1 minute left, but let's try.
Okay, well, rather than me doing that, I do intend to be on the radio soon, and I can go into further depth. I just want to give the commitment to the opposition and to the listening public that any questions that are posed, that I'm happy to answer them. I know what it was like in opposition, and by all means, I have no intentions of trying to not allow them to give the information to their constituents. But everything that we've been doing within the ministry and within this administration, we have justification for doing so. And even if things don't work out, only a dead man, a fool, will not be willing to change their mind. And even at this particular point, I don't think we need to do that because we have the protections from a revenue guarantee. And the last thing I want to say is, my good Caymanian people, I will not lose your money. Your taxpaying money is protected. So these opportunities are only things that we can see where there are further growth for our economy and for the region. So I'll leave it there. We'll see. Hopefully I'll be on Friday if the time slot is available, so I can offer myself and my services for further questioning from the public.
Definitely. I will be giving you a call, with some options. It may not be ideal, but at least it'll give you an opportunity for some time. So I'll be in touch.
Okay, if it's not Friday, maybe next week. It's time for me to come on so the public can ask any relevant questions that they have.
Certainly. Okay.
God bless you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister. Folks, I want to thank all of you who participated as well, those of you who listen, and we know lots of you are listening because I do get feedback in terms of the show as well. I want to encourage you to continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, and JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
We are Radio Cayman,
covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman.
One in a million.